Hey everybody, and welcome to another Learn to Digitize video. My name is Sue and I am from OML Digitizing and OML Embroidery, and today is class number 3 in Wilcom Hatch. And today we are going to do, it's a little more complicated, but I think it'll be lots of fun, digitizing a logo. Alright, let's check out the logo. So let's first go to File, New Blank Design, so we have a blank page to work on. And then we're going to go up here to insert artwork. It's also down here as well, but I like using these ones. Just in a habit, I guess, for my pen. And we're going to pick this one, class logo, and open it. And there's our picture. Now, the first thing we do is, and especially with logos, we want to digitize at the size that we want our final design to be. So we wanted a smidgen bigger. These people, of course, I made the design, but we're just pretending that someone sent me this. These people wanted a little bit bigger. They want it quite big on their shirts, bigger than I would have recommended, but the customer knows what they want. Now, if you look, once I made this a little bit larger, it got pixelated, and that's probably going to happen a lot when you guys are doing it. But that's okay. We're going to work around it. We're going to try a few different ways. Now that that's set, the keyboard shortcut is K to lock it, because we don't want our logo moving around at all. So then let's do the keyboard shortcut O to make it bigger, and or 0 actually, not O. And let's have a look at this. So this design, I said it was 4x3, almost 4x4, now that we sized it. And what we want to look at, this to me looks like a font that we have, a standard font, except for the letters are spread out a little bit more. And that's going to be quite small. We might have to make that a little bit bigger. Now, I've already talked to these people, and a lot of times what looks good on an image does not look good in embroidery, and we do have to make changes. Now we're going to try it two ways. I would say that this amount of shading, the way that they have it to make the letters look 3D, doesn't look very good in embroidery. You can do it bigger and it looks better, but at this size it doesn't look good. We're going to try it and I'll show you how to do it. I just don't really like it. So if I was digitizing this for a person, for a company, I would say that you need to have flat stitches and it'll look better in embroidery. So that's where I would start off. Now, I've also talked to them because the background is white. So do they want a square, or because there's gradation right here, and we can do the gradation, but do they want the white? And they said they want it in a square with a border around it, just a plain satin stitch border. So they do want the white. Now, for some things, they said they want, no white on it in the shirt, and that's easy to do for a second file. And I made sure that I know what size I'm working on, because that's going to affect how we digitize. We're going to be able to put the satin stitches in, but if they want this a lot smaller, the satin stitches are not going to work. So you have to be really careful on sizes. So let's get started. Normally I would start with the background here and the white background, but we're going to leave that to the end so we don't have to bother hiding it and stuff so you can see. Let's talk about the letter L. Now, a couple ways of doing it. You can see it has a nice outline and these colors. So let's try it the way that it looks, and that I'm quite certain is not going to look good in embroidery. But we're going to try it because I just want to show you what to look for. Again, not everything that looks good in graphics is going to translate into embroidery. And that's part of experience and knowing things and sizes. Again, this would look probably pretty decent, really large. The smaller you get, the more terrible it's going to look. But let's just try it. And then you can see what I'm talking about. So we're going to do, it's basically light blue and a navy blue. And it's going to be impossible to do the, where it blends. You could take the freehand open shape and just kind of go over it a little bit, but it's not really going to have the effect that you want. I'm going to start here, left click, right click, left click, and left click, right click, left click, I'll move a little faster, but just so you guys remember to get the hang of the circles, the curves. Left, right around the corner, another left, left. We're going to do a right here and then left, and that's pretty much straight. We don't have to follow it exactly. And then when you get here, you can just press enter, which is what I've done, and that's not the blue that I want. So I'm just going to pause here and make it kind of the brighter blue. So, you know, that looks okay, but let's keep going. Let's keep going. We're going to reserve judgment for after. So left click, right click, there, a little bit more, yeah. And this is the dark part, so we're gonna move on that a little bit. And also when you are digitizing logos, you don't have a whole lot of thinking outside the box other than technique. See, I might go like this and see how it looks, because you need to keep their logo the same. So it's all about precision work on this one. As close as we can, not everything's gonna work. Let's go to select, let's make that dark. You can see already what I was talking about. It's okay, and if they insist on it, I mean, that's fine. If you show them what you've done and they like it, well, then that's what you're doing. I would prefer not to do it this way, but again, we're going to do both ways. And enter to finish. And let's change that color. So you can see what I mean. I mean, it's okay. You can see the L. It doesn't have the same effect that what we want, how we want embroidery to look. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to group it, and I'm going to move it off to the side. And let's do the L the way I think it should be done. And my customers always agreed to it because it's I know what I'm talking about, and we want the embroidery to look nice but still reflect on the logo. It's just you can't always do the details that, whoops, aha, what did I do there? I added a right click instead of a left click. I do it all the time, and I try to do it more when we're working together so you guys can see what's going on. There we go, and that's straight, so let's just do it. To me, that looks much better. Let's change the color. I like that so much better. I think that looks way better than this. But we're going to leave this L on the side just so you can see that's how it looked to me, and that's how I think the embroidery should be done. So let's go to the G, and we're just going to do the G in flat shape. So I'm just going to digitize a closed shape, and I'm just going to quickly, you know, left click, right click, left click, and we're going to go through and try to make this guy look pretty good. I'm going to try not to overlap things too much. We're going to have to reorder and make our connections at the end because we are not doing this in the right order, but it just makes it a little bit easier for the video to do things out of order. So keep that in mind. You always start with the back and work your way forward. So this is our nice little G started here. And I'm just taking my time. I could go a little faster, but everyone tells me to slow down. So I'm trying. And there. And there. Again, keeping as you guys need to be more precise than I am. I'm just, you know, not being all that careful. Zoom in a little bit more if you need to. And we want the shape of the G. We might be able to change it to satin stitches if they made it smaller. I think it's too wide for satin stitches. You could maybe try that. That's a nice G. I like it. Change it. You could maybe try that with satin and it'll go double, and that may be a good enough look for them because it kind of makes it look 3D a little bit. I prefer just the flat. So, okay, we got two things out of the way. Awesome. I would like to make a nice connection in between these two guys, but we can do that after. Just a running stitch from, let's see where we end. From there, running around this black part to the G should be the same too. Whoops. I hit the wrong one. And there's the start. So we can do that Digitize open shape. It was right here. And we just want to hide these stitches, and this will save us a whole jump stitch. So we're going to do that like that, and that should be right on. Oh, we need to change color though, because that's going to mess it up. And then we need to move this in between these guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these three things, because that's the only thing we have in bright blue, and I'm shift and clicking on the bottom, and I'm going to group them because I want it to stay in complete order. So I want the L to stitch, that's my delightful connection stitch, and that's the G. So when we organize stuff later, those things are always going to stay together, and this will be nicely hidden under the ampersand, the outline of the ampersand. Okay, so that's the start. I think that looks pretty good. You may look through the lettering, the alphabet, the built-in fonts, and see if you can find a font that matches this exactly. I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to guess it's the same as this. So you might want to try that. That might be a good starting place. Or just digitize it yourself like I did. Alright, so we're going to do the outline. Now, we can try. There's a couple ways to do it. I know how I want to do it to save time. However, we can do it a couple of ways, and actually for this first one we need to ungroup it because we just need the L. Don't let me forget to group it back in. So we can go close digitize, we can go into edit objects, and we can go create outlines and offsets, and we want an outline, and we'll take the offset off for now, and we'll do merge, and we don't quite want that color, but that'll be good enough for now. Let that happen. See, that's not quite enough. If you were doing it smaller, that would be enough, but this is big, so let's try satin. See, I don't like how much satin covers it. It's almost right though, and I don't want the satin there, but we can fix that after. So let's go to the satin, and we're going to go to the stitching, and we're going to take off the underlay, and we're going to take off, watch when I take off the pull comp. That is a little bit better. It's not quite as thick. I don't really like it though. It's not quite what I want, but that's there. We can always remove overlap stitches after. But let's put that guy aside. It's almost what I want. It's just not quite exactly what I want. So let's do it manually, and then I will get exactly what I want out of it. So digitize open shape, and we're just going to kind of go in the middle here, and we're going to see how that looks. It only takes a minute, and again with logos you have to be pretty precise with what you're doing. And I'm left clicking and right clicking and left clicking. It's not even in a perfect shape, but that's okay. We can fix it all and make it look good. See, it doesn't take that long to do, and I'm just kind of aiming for the middle of it. And then we have, because I'm planning on backspace there. It's not quite how I want it. I'm planning on stitching out a whole bunch of these. So what we want is it to be as efficient as possible. So there, and we're going to press enter, and that's not what we wanted. We wanted it thicker. I should have picked that at the beginning, shouldn't I? Well, there we go. Back at it. Let's do a satin. See, I think that looks a little better. I want to tuck that in a little bit more, and we're going to make it this gold color. And I think the difference between that one and this one is quite a bit. It's out more. You can see the L more. The other thing we could do is move this first. It gives it a whole different effect. Watch when I do it. Move it first. It's kind of like on the edge, and I kind of like that. It might have a different look on it. Again, I still do want to tuck that in, but we'll fiddle around with the details. Now I put that in there, and I don't want to link those yet, but we ended right here. So I want to do a digitize open shape, and again I want to carry it over, and I'm just going to do a running stitch, and it's okay that there's two over there, or it'll be under actually. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be confusing. One thing at a time. We want to change that to gold. It's okay that there's two colors running in there. I wouldn't do too many more. but it'll all be covered up when we do the black outline. And I'm going to make this a little bit thicker, but all the colors should be covered up. So I just did a running stitch between the end point of the L and the beginning point, which is going to be the beginning point of the G. So let's go on to Digitize Open Shape, pick Satin, and we're going to start right where that running stitch ended, and we're going to do the outline of my G. Oops, that one's a bit off. Again, you guys try to be super precise about it, and I'm just kind of aiming for the middle. So if I'm, a little bit off, you guys do it just a little bit better than I am. But we don't want to sit around all day and plot stitches because we have so many other things to do to finish this awesome logo for everyone. So there we go. And we are optimizing and we are making it super efficient for the machines. And you guys will see how that's going to work when we stitch out. Now, again, with the optimization, I'm just going to talk while I'm plotting stitches. You guys can watch what I'm doing. With the optimization, there's two ways of doing it. I like to do it just exactly how I did. I do one, I make the connection, I do the other. Some other people like to do all the digitizing and then whip in their connections after. And that's fine. Either way, whichever way you like. Now, I'm going to need to modify this a little bit, but before I do, let's go in and take off the same things that we did. We want the pull comp, and I don't want any underlay. Now, see, that didn't work very well there. It's not very smooth. Like these ones, you're going to have to fix up, but let's tend to this one right in there. So let's go to reshape and see what's going on. Far too many nodes, I'm guessing, and they're a little out of place. So let's just move stuff around. That's almost okay. I think I want that one to be... I think I don't want that one. Let's try that. Nope, that's too pointy, but let's move our round one in here. There we go. That's basically how it is. Now I'm going to move this one in just a smidge. But you see how you do that? You fiddle around a little bit until you get what you want. I think that one can be a little bit better, I guess. See, move it around. We kind of want that a little more curvier. But anyways, you guys can sit and play with it and get it right. That's almost right. I would like a smoother transition here. I don't think I really like it a little bit better. That's almost a little better. See, the curve is nicer. It's just this part. And here, this isn't very curvy too. There's too many straight points. Okay, so you guys can fiddle around with the reshaping and make it look better. So we've got, our main things going on. Let's work on the ampersand. Now, two ways of doing it. We can make it match the same as these ones, or we can try an alphabet and see if we can come up with the same sort of thing and then put an outline on it. And I think that would be easier, and I think it would make it stand out a little bit more too. I guess we should change our colors on our not so smooth G, but that's okay. So let's do lettering, and let's go to lettering, and I'm going to pick the same font as the other one and see if we can get lucky and have it match. So it's called Budoni. So let's type an ampersand on there, which is above the 7, so shift. And, that's not quite it. Shall we try another one? We might not be able to do it because it's really thick is the thing. And that's why you shouldn't use, regular letters in there because that's not even close. You can make it bigger. And, if you were doing this yourself for you, you could do that. But because it's for a client that, we want it to be exactly. So let's scrap that idea because clearly it's not going to work. It's just not going to be fat enough when we know that. And we're going to manually digitize it. So let's get right in there. We want to cover up everything. So let's left click. We want to cover up the edges. So right click. I still have to move the end of that L there. It's not quite right to me, but that's okay. That should be a left click right there. And remember, we got to go where it is I could hide these to see it better, but I think I can follow it along pretty well. And we want a little bit of overlap. It's a little bit hard to overlap the white and the blue, but that's okay. We got it. So more corners, more corners. There we go. I'm liking it. So right here, right click, enter, and I forgot to change it to fill, so let's do that right now. And now we need to cut some holes, so digitize holes, and they weren't very big. I'm going to zoom in just a smidge so I can kind of make an oval sort of mark here, kind of like this. Boom. 2 enters, then it's done. Pretty much got it. You can be a little more precise again, so let's do another hole here. And we'll do kind of the same sort of shape. I should have looked at it better. 2 enters, there we go. And there's our ampersand. And that's looking good. So we want to, sorry about my phone there. So we want to give this a nice outline. Oh, we can't move it. I moved it and I shouldn't have moved it. I think I want this down just a little bit to look. Yep, that's more of what I want. So let's change the color to white because that's what it is. And let's close Digitize and go to Edit Objects. And there we go, Create Outlines. And we want an outline and we want it to be in black. So there we go with black. And we're getting through this. It's starting to come together. We just done a few things, but you know, we're getting it. I think this one or this one. Let's go outlines. Look at, see, that's looking good. Now that is on a stem stitch. I can see that. That I would fix up a little bit. It might be just easier to do it just in a fill stitch instead of an outline. Let's go to the parts and do it on that one. Let's change it to a fill. I'm thinking it'll look better because again, we're working with small stuff and this is how you do it. That looks much better. And what I can do here, just to be a little more precise, I'm going to select these 2 things because being precise is what it's all about with what we're doing, right? So I want this one, and what do I want? Oh, right there. So shift click both of them, and I'm just going to move it aside, and that leaves us with our dots. You know what? This one just needs to be moved over here a little bit, and there I've got it. So these 2 guys, select again and move it on top, and I think that looks pretty good. I still have to fix, okay, stop saying it. Let's fix the L before it drives me crazy. I'm crazy. I'm not that crazy, just a little crazy. We want that just a smidge. There we go. To me, that looks a little better. It could even go a little bit more, but it's not irritating me. So look what we have so far. These are just the ones we were playing around with and decided not to do. And let's keep going. Okay, so these things here, this black swash, this circle, and the shading and that, we should have done first. So we're just going to do it last. So let's try with this lettering. Now this lettering is going to be a little bit small for my liking, but I think we can work with it. So let's go and we're going to type company of friendly people. A nice company, I guess. And the font I want, I went through my fonts and I figured that out, that this is the one that we want. It matches it. The kerning might be a little bit off, but it won't be that bad. So I'm going to make it smaller, and that, once we change the kerning, so let's look at our lettering. It's still okay. The lettering is, I wouldn't make it much smaller than that. Now we have to work on the kerning. So the kerning is the spacing between the letters. And we're going to go down here, letter spacing. And all you do is just click a little bit and see how we're fitting here. Because again, you want this to be precise. Now I think the spacing is okay. Let's move it in where it should be. Now look, I almost got that. Just 2 clicks and we're good. I want this a little in from the edge. So what I'm going to do is take off, I think I like that better. And I think that's close. That is close to the edge. So a little bit fiddly, but look, we got it right on. perfectly. A little bit bigger because I don't want to squish the lettering down, because it's just, if you look in the E here, it's just barely, we could go here and we could take off underlay. No, that's not going to do any good. Keep your underlay on. And that's about all we can do. I guess pull comp. Yeah, see, that's not going to look right here. That is just a regular stitch. So that's not going to stitch out very nice. This is pretty hard because it's small lettering. I'm going to keep it thicker because I think it looks better. I would not make it any smaller than that. Let's change it black. And there we go, working through this. Little more lettering. So here, what do we see here looking at this? I see an outline that fades into a drop shadow. We're not going to be able to do both of those things because that is just going to look terrible at this size. Remember, we're working kind of small. So corporation. And the kerning is probably going to be off. Let's just select it and see. And we want this lettering to be in white. I got the size up and down correctly. Let's go here. And yeah, this kerning is way off. So let's move it down, because if you look at the letters compared to the one at the above, they're kind of squishy. They're kind of squished together. And that's what we want to do. And we'll just keep, I don't know how close we can get it. Still, yeah, that's pretty squishy. Oh, we can put it up a little bit. A little less squishy. Our letters are still nice. They're a little bit bigger than the ones up there. There's a little bit of overlap. And you have to really look. I have it on TrueView. I most of the time work in TrueView, especially with small lettering, because you really need to be able to see what the letters are looking like. Now that's not perfect, but I'm going to say that's as perfect as you're going to get for this one. I don't want to make it any closer because the O and the N were overlapping. And let's look underneath. Yeah, there's a little bit of space because they have it outlined. We are not going to outline this. However, we're going to make it look pretty cool. We're going to make it look like there's a drop shadow. So while that is selected, let's go to Edit Objects. And we're going to go all the way down. And we are going to go to the Create Outlines and Offsets, which is so easy and fun. And we're going to create an offset. And what I did is I played around with it a little bit. And all you have to do is just try a few times. And I wanted it relatively close, but not right on. So let's try this. I came up with a number of 50. And that's pretty good. We could try it again and make it a little bit smaller and see what we think. We have to select the letters again. Go here, let's make it a little bit closer what this is. Let's try maybe 40, and let's make it a different color just so we can see which one is which. And that one might be a little bit better. I kind of like it better. So we can move that out of the way because we made that one purple. That's the black one. That's the purple one. See, the purple one, yes, because that kind of tucks in the lettering. So let's, I'm actually going to leave the black one. Let's go to the purple one, and we're going to change that to a fill. And then that's pretty cool, actually. You can see how close you can get it. We need to make that, I'm going to do it black so it stands out. And what we need to do, just a tatami fill, we need to go to stitching. And we're going to take off all the underlay because we want this thin. We're going to take off the pull comp because I don't think we'll need it. That's all we're going to do there. Go to the fill. And we're going to make it a little bit less dense. So it's almost like, a light stitch. Did I go the wrong way? Went the wrong way. You know how I can tell? Because it got thicker as I'm looking at it. Again, another reason to have your TrueView on, because you can actually see this really clearly. That's probably light enough. I put it on 0.20, and let's put it up here on our lettering, and we're gonna not drop it too much, but I think a little bit so it kind of has the effect of it. Well, okay, that looks terrible. The other thing is, let's get rid of this guy because he's clouding me up here. Delete, delete, and all these things, just check them, delete them. They're just the spaces between because it's trying to do an outline and it's outlining everything. We just don't need them for this one, so don't bother having your machine stitch them out. Just delete them. It's the spaces between the letters and whatnot. That looks even better. That looks even better to me. I kind of like that. Now what we want to do is move the shadow before the letters. And see, you can have the same effect. It's nice light stitching, so it almost looks like a shadow. I kind of like that. Let's pull back and see all of our work. Yeah, it does have that effect. I really like it. So far, so good. So let's finish off the lettering while we're at it. So let's go to lettering and monogram. Let's go to lettering, and we're going to type since 1996. Since 1996 and an exclamation mark, because I guess they're pretty happy about it. And that's way too big, so we're going to have to make it small. This we might have to fiddle around with a little bit. That is probably as small as we dare to go. Now we are going to have to move it because we've kind of gone over in our spacing a little bit. We don't want to move anything up further because we're already infringing on our G. Now the difference in this one is the kerning, so we want a letter spacing, but kerning. Make it a little more spread out till we get it just about right. That's pretty close there. Let's move this in so the S's match. And look how perfectly I got that. Woohoo! Love it. Absolutely love it. So there's the hard parts. Let's go do the easy parts now because this is pretty simple to do. Two ways we're going to do the circle here, the oval. Now you can pull out an oval with under Digitize. You can pull it out and then do remove stitches or however you want. That's probably the fastest way. And you can let Hatch do most of the work for you, or you can manually do it. So I think we've done another video on clipping underneath. We can do both if you want. Just so you know your options, it's what you prefer. Oops, not edit objects. What am I doing? Let's digitize, and we're going to digitize a closed shape. And I'm going to start it right here, and we want to go in a little bit. If we started off properly with this guy, we wouldn't have to move everything around, but we didn't, so here we are. And we'll move stuff. And I'm just, again, as always, just doing this super quickly, just so you guys can see. And then I'm going to hit enter, and let's change the color so we can see what we're doing. We're going to make this more of a yellow. Now this is overlapped, which we want it to, but we're going to move everything around. So don't worry about that right now. What I am going to do, because we know this is underneath, I am just going to do a little running stitch to here in the same yellow, except for that's not a running stitch. That's okay. We want to go up a little bit at single run, and how about select button? There we go. Single run, and we want to change that to the same yellow, and that's making our connection. I know it looks terrible right now, but we will fix it. And then we start exactly there, and we'll do the other part of our oval and make it a little better. I'm not being too picky right now. I'm normally way pickier, but that's okay. Plotting stitches, you know. So there we go. I'm doing right clicks around here, and you don't have to be that picky right here because the satin stitches will cover it nicely. You can just, I call it hacking it out, just hack it out so it looks decent. And there's you just want a little bit of overlap because we don't want to worry about any gapping, unsightly gaps, no. And hit enter, we're done. And I forgot to change it back, but that's okay. Fill stitch, not blue, we want yellow. So there we go. So we stitched this side. We have a lovely connector that's going to be hidden in that side, and that's how I like to roll. What I'm going to do is I clicked and I shift clicked, and we're going to group it, and then we're going to move this up, you know, probably to the beginning, I guess. It's not the first thing that's going to stitch, but we'll move it before our L's that we messed up. And look, it looks perfect, and it's all hidden and everything. I may want to make this a little bit thicker. Back stitch. Let's try stem stitch. No, that's not going to work. Back stitch. If you try satin, well, that's almost what it looks like. I'm going to leave it at satin. Let me go fix it because I do like that better. It was just not quite what I wanted. Take the pull comp off. I like that better. Okay, so we have our circle done. Now we are going to go to these black, what do you call them? Swashes. And again, there's always more than one way of doing it. We can do one way and the other, but normally I would do one and then copy end because the other one is the same way. I wouldn't stitch out, or I wouldn't digitize both. But to show you guys what we're doing, I'm going to. So we're going to do this one. And again, you would copy and paste and mirror it. But we're going to show you two different ways of doing it. So left click at the bottom, a lot of right clicks because we got a nice curve. But if you don't do the left click, it's not going to look right. We're going to tuck this a smidge under and we're going to press enter. That looks pretty good. Let's do it in black. And then you can start playing with it. So what about a satin? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what you want. It's almost too thick, but it doesn't have the middle parts in it. Let's step back. Yep, I definitely want a satin stitch. So the other way you can do it is digitize blocks. I briefly went over digitizing blocks and people had a hard time with it. So I'm actually going to do a whole video just on doing this. And it's a side-to-side motion, and you can right click and it tells you if you cross over, then you've done the wrong one. And I'm just right clicking in the corners. And these lines that are going here to here are your angle lines. And you can adjust everything afterwards. So if you do it and go, wow, I don't like it, you can just go to the reshape tool and you can fix it up. You can move it around if you didn't get the angle lines quite right. It takes a smidgen of practice, but you get it. It's a very handy tool. And again, we'll do a whole entire class on it. And I want it there. And let's press enter. And that even looks really good like that. However, we're sure satin's going to look better, and it does. And I got the angles pretty good in there. It's nice and smooth. I kind of like it. We don't want it in that color, though. We want it in black, don't we? Yes, I did that one better than this one. So let's move this so you can tell the difference. We'll move that to tatami, and you can see which one you like best. So again, we're kind of working backwards again. So we want these two. I guess they can stay there. Let's do the white part. So let's do a rectangle. Let's do the white part. And I'm just holding my left mouse key down and doing that. Let go and click. And we want that one in white because our customer did say that's what they wanted. So left click, let's move that guy up because it really needs to be one of the first ones that we stitch out. Ooh, don't get in the middle of all of our connections. Didn't I thought I grouped that. I did. Oh, well, don't put anything in there. That is starting to look good. I wouldn't cut out this lettering at all because it's pretty small. It's about as small as we can get. And if you start cutting it out, it's going to change how it looks. And we want it to sit neat and tidy above the base stitches. That's why I did it that way, and I think it looks better. If you have a better idea, you can let me know. So we're gonna pull out another square. Again, we did everything out of order, didn't we? But that's okay, we'll fix it. Go back to our select key and keep that square selected, and we're gonna go to edit objects and my favorite, color blend. And it went it was, now see what I did there? I forgot. So let's take a look. We can always move the color blend here. Dark blue at the top and white at the bottom. So if you forget what you're doing, like I did, just pull it so you can see it. You can always move it back. So the first color we want is, let's make it white. And the second color we want our bright blue. So we want more white on the bottom. That's the easiest way to figure it out. Set up your colors and then do it that way. So we want more white on the bottom, and we want I didn't mean layer, I meant the bottom of the design. And let's go. And what we need to do, that kind of looks weird, I know, but it's our stitch angle that's on the 15 degrees rather. And what we want to do, change, that's not what I wanted to grab. Let's go in there. Let's put that back. And you can do Control Z to put it back, right? We want the angle line. Where is it? It is hard to see. Oh, because it's right buried in there. That's why. This one? Yep. That's how you do it. Sometimes I have a hard time grabbing it. I'm even looking over my glasses to get it. Let's go back a little bit. No, we want this straight. I just slammed it up there and I don't want it slammed up there. You might be, if you put on your grid, that might make it a little easier for you to get it straight. And I pretty much did, and I like it. So let's go back to our select tool. Let's put this guy on there, make it fit. Or we could grab both of them. Ha! Edit, undo. So let's select both of them instead of just one. And that didn't work, so I'm going to go here. And it's already grouped. I don't know why I missed it. I just did. And there we go. Again, looks terrible. But let's do the 0 key to zoom in so you don't have to mess around. And did that just bring one or both? No, that's both of them. Let's take these guys already in a group and we're going to place them up here around our, we want it before the yellow part, don't we? Yes, because that cuts off our yellow. Ooh, that's how you figure out how you do it. So we wanted the white block, and we can actually do this first, so then we're optimizing as we go. And yeah, I think that looks really good. I think what I want to do, let's try this. See, there's always things to fiddle around and do. I ungrouped that, and I want the white first. That's the look I want. Do you see the difference there? If you're sitting there thinking that's not great, it's kind of too much white in that one. Didn't like it. So all I did was move the white over. And now it's more blue. And I like that. So, wow. Okay, much better. I'm much more excited about that. I am going to delete these guys because I still don't like you. So delete. Delete and gone. And the only thing left to do is tidy up our edges because the person wanted it in a square. That's how they're going to be sewing it on. So I'm just going to left mouse, pull out a square, groovy, click again. I want an outline, thanks. Whoops, select key, outline. Thank you. And this one we are going to make a satin stitch. And I think they said either blue or black. They didn't care. Blue or black. I kind of like the, whoops, not brown. I kind of like the blue better. So we've done it. There was a lot of different work in there, a lot of different things to do. A lot of technique, a lot of everything, but we have made their logo into a design, and I think it looks great. Look how it looks. Again, you need to fix up the G a little bit. I like the satin stitches better around here. It makes it stand out and stand above, and I like that. We did kind of a drop shadow on it if you wanted, because this one, it kind of looks like there's a glow around it. We can't really do that, but you can do a little trick here to kind of make the colors seem the same. Let's go to Edit Objects. Let's go down to our Create Outlines. We don't want offset, we want outlines. And we're going to make it, I think it should be, it's kind of a greeny weird color, but let's just try this. All you can do is try, right? Should we try yellow or gold? Maybe gold. Let's try gold. Where's my gold? There's my gold. And the middle one, well, let's try that. See, you know, no, that doesn't work at all. It's not bad, but basically what it is the lettering is so small that it doesn't look the greatest. It adds a little bit, maybe if we switch all these ones, because it is on back stitch. So let's try this and let's make it a single run. That's almost it. I really don't like it. I think it had a neater, clean look without it. But that's excellent. I think that's absolutely excellent what we've done. I just moved that up a bit. It must have slipped down. Now you can go here and we should probably remove overlaps, and we should go here on this one because remember we did do two separate parts. Handy enough, and remove overlaps. And I probably wouldn't do any more than that, but you can if you're picky about overlaps. You can mess around with, we optimize the stitching a little bit, but you can do that a little bit more. We'll do probably a whole video on it and get you guys through it. But optimize your colors, because right now we got a whole sling of stuff and you can move them together so they look better. But that is our finished logo, and I'm thinking that's pretty good. There wasn't a whole lot we could do with that. The ampersand's a little bit thicker and thinner. I could make that a little rounder or more triangle-y. I would improve on that one a little bit. That'll only take a minute. I don't really like the stitches on the outside, but it's okay. That we know will stitch out beautifully. There won't be any gapping. I think it's going to look great. So that's how you do a logo and keep it as close as possible to the original logo, obeying some embroidery rules, but still making it look really good.